Hello, my dear viewers. It's so good to be coming into your screen and your mind today. I mean, it's beautiful to be going into the month of August. I mean, it is the eighth month of the year, and August being number eight. With the number eight being synonymous with new beginnings, it's exciting to be broadcasting this edition of the BLM Fireside Chat with to you rather today. I have a very remarkable individual that is in the studio with us today, and we'll be having a lot of fun. Fun in terms of learning very important things that would help us to be more effective, to manage our businesses better. And if you're someone who is aspiring to start a business, good knowledge for you to have as you navigate that very interesting terrain. As you know, one of the things we always seek to do on the BLM Fireside Chat is to bring you individuals who will be very practical. And today I have with me in the studio someone who I respect. He's doing great work, and I really know that he's going to add a lot of value to us today. I have in the studio with me Mr. Tobi Egbeyemi. He's the head of investments for UTL Trustees, and he has a BSc, from the Lagos State University. He studied accounting, and he has a master's degree, an MBA from the Ahmadu Bello University, where he studied finance, right?
Yeah.
Finance and investment?
Yes,
finance and investment. Beautiful. Well, glad to have you on the broadcast today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joshua. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
It's interesting that you invited me to your podcast, given that I'm passionate about small businesses, and I'd worked in small business for over a decade.
Wow.
So I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much. It's a privilege to share this platform with you.
Fantastic. Thank you too. We're glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
So, as a way of starting the conversation, let's know more about you. Who is Mr. Tobi Egbeyemi?
Interesting question. Again, thank you very much for having me. And that answer will be dependent on which day of the week you are asking, who am I? So on a Sunday, you catch me as a pastor. And on Monday, you catch me as head of investment at UTL Trust Management Services at Marina.
Yes.
So every other day, I'm a father, a husband, a son, depending on which day of the week. However, I think one of the things remarkable about me is the way I think. I'm always pragmatic, always calculative, and all of that. And I think the need to always want to help people. I do it effortlessly. It's not something I just intentionally, it has become a second nature, just wanting to add value and all of that. I think that's the core thing about me. Thank you.
Fantastic. Wow, that's remarkable. I mean, that's why you're here today.
Yes.
Wanting to help people.
Yeah.
And help our viewers to deepen their acumen around what to do.
Very true.
With the profits that they make. I discovered that, working with lots of businesses across various sectors, right? Some people make money, and the conversation is about how do we manage profits, loss, and all of that, and how do we grow our top line, as it were.
Very true.
But people think about growing their top line and profitability from the perspective of, okay, so whatever business I'm in, I'm selling goods, I'm selling services, I should sell more goods, I should sell more services, and that's all they are thinking about. But I've come to discover that the people who are really doing remarkable things, they are wise enough to have an investment mindset.
Yeah.
So from your perspective and from your experience, what are the kinds of things you would tell a business owner? I mean, you're running your business, yes, you're making some profits. What would you tell them about the things they can do with the profits that they make.
So it's interesting you ask that question, because even for us who have worked in consulting before, because I worked in consulting for over a decade, we advise clients to focus on the top line, increase revenue, reduce expense, so that the bottom line can make sense. And most times we don't really get to tell them to also diversify and think of what they can do outside of their business to also generate revenue. So we focus on increasing revenue from the core business that they do, which is where their strength lies. However, one of the things that every business that is now established, when I say established, has become stable and is making at least breaking even, you need to start thinking of what I can do outside of my core business, and then intentionally setting something aside for that purpose. Because again, every business will go through that season where they are making the most money, and it will get to a point, a peak, where there will also be a decline. And when you are experiencing a decline in business, if you don't have another stream of income, you are going to struggle a lot. But imagine that, let's say, a small store of a small bookstore, or someone who is into selling computer hardwares, and he has a structure that enables him to invest in certain investment options. You know, a portion of his profits, a portion of the money that he's not using actively. Even when computers are not selling, what you realize is that there is also an income from probably interests from an investment he has done. So it's always good to think of, what can I do outside of my core business? I'm into hardware sale. I'm providing a service. What can I do? So, and to answer your question, my advice would be, set aside a portion of your profits and then discuss with a financial advisor, an investment advisor, someone who can guide you and hold your hand. Because where we start from is, what is your goal for wanting to invest in other things other than your core business? And when I talk about investing, I'm talking about the capital market, the money market. So what are the investment opportunities that exist in that space? At UTL, one of the things that we do is provide sound investment advice for people, corporate individuals, and also private individuals as well, who will then ask certain questions. What is your goal? What's your financial goal? And they'll begin to profile you. What's your risk appetite? What is the time horizon? And all of this seems like, you know, big language and all of that. But all of this, the answers to these questions will then help us to determine what investment will best suit your purpose. So interestingly, I was speaking earlier today with a prospective client.
Okay.
And his excuse was, I am locked in somewhere. I'm currently doing money market fund, which is an investment option called mutual fund.
Okay.
And in other words, it's also called collective investment scheme, where you pull money together and then you invest in different class of asset. So, but he was so hell-bent on, this is what I'm doing, and it's paying me. I can see my interest accrue every month or every day. I said, fantastic, but what's the goal? What's the goal? Why are you doing all of this? And then that's when I got him, because he didn't really have a goal. He was just happy that he could get a higher interest rate and he could see the interest accrue every day. So I sat him down and said, see, and that's the same thing I'm saying to our viewers at home, that as a business, once you're able to determine what your profit is, also decide on what portion of that profit will go into an investment vehicle. The choice of the investment vehicle that you put your funds into will be determined by your goal. And your goal can be short-term, it can be medium term, it can be long term. And when we say goals, it's not just trying to sound intelligent.
I was going to ask.
So, financial goals could be that you want to be able to start a new line of the same business you're currently doing.
Okay.
For instance, let me use, I don't know why I'm using the guy selling hardware. Maybe you are depending on a major distributor to be able to get stocks. Your goal could be that one day you want to be a major dealer of HP laptop, for instance. Instead of depending on the guy that currently has the license, you can say, okay, I want to be able to, distribute this thing. And then you set that goal. Now you now determine how long will it take me to meet this goal and how much of my profit do I need to set aside and invest in other things other than this core business I'm doing. Once you determine that goal, you begin to invest towards the goal. Then we can now guide you. Once we know the tenor, that the time it will take you to achieve that goal and how much you're willing to set aside, we'll also advise you on what investment vehicle you should put your money in. So maybe that is a very big goal, but we can look at you being able to pay your rent without stress. For a small business, that can be a big deal. Maybe big businesses won't be thinking about this. All right? So once you set that goal, my goal is to pay rent. I would then sit with you and say, okay, let's talk about this. You can invest in a fixed deposit, for instance, which fixed deposit has fixed return, and the tenor is determined by you. It can be as low as 30 days. It can be as high as 180 days or 365 days. So it depends on what you want to do. So, and of course, the return on investment is also determined by the tenor and the amount.
Yes.
But I think the bottom line is this. You can start with whatever you have. So someone's asking, can I start with 100,000? Yes.
Wow.
Can I start with 200,000? Yes. So that's bank balance that you leave uninvested for so long. You can actually put it in a fixed deposit. Though the rate may be small, maybe a little less than what you expect, but in the end, you have at least invested.
Yes.
And that money is earning something for you. And I thought about this as well, that, you see, aside the company setting something aside, the owner of the business setting the profit aside, there's also the bit of you paying yourself as a sole proprietor.
Yes.
Paying yourself salary, because most business owners don't pay themselves.
Yes. The profit
They
is
just
their
expense their lifestyle from the business. And they complain, I'm not making money. When you pay yourself, one way to ensure that is regular is you put that amount you want to pay yourself into an investment. So let's assume I make a profit of 100,000 a month, and I'm not paying myself. I'm actually not earning 100,000 profits. I've just not decided to take salary. So if I'm supposed to hire somebody to do that same job, I will pay him. So I'll determine how much I want to pay him. 50,000. That 50,000 can buy you a couple of units in mutual funds, which I mentioned earlier. So, in answering your question again, you can do fixed deposits, you can do mutual funds, you can invest in treasury bills, commercial paper, or bonds, or even equities, depending on your risk appetite. But of course, there are numerous investment vehicles out there that you can invest your funds, but not without an investment advisor. I will always say that.
Wow. I mean, very powerful secrets.
Thank you.
Secrets. So when you say, you mentioned capital markets, you mentioned money markets. What does that mean? I mean, I'm saying this for the sake of the viewers. What does that mean?
So for capital market and money market, money market is a market where short-term funds are raised.
Okay.
And capital market is a market for long-term instruments.
Okay. Can you give us examples?
Okay, so fixed deposits is an example of a money market instrument.
Okay.
Mutual fund is also an example of money market instrument. The difference between fixed deposit and mutual fund is that For fixed deposits, there is a fixed rate and a fixed tenor.
Okay.
For mutual funds, there's also an agreed tenor, which usually is maybe 90 days. And for some other type of mutual funds, because, of course, there are different type of mutual funds in the market. And that's why you need, an advisor. Not because they want to collect a fee, but you need to speak with someone, a professional who can guide you. So, for instance, there are money market funds.
Okay.
There are balance funds. And there are equity funds.
And they are all mutual funds?
They are all mutual funds. So the reason it's called mutual funds is because you have a collection of people pulling funds together and then investing in different classes of assets. So for the money market funds, for instance, you have short-term instruments such as fixed deposits, treasury bills, commercial paper in that bucket. So it's like a basket of fruits, and you have different fruits there. Okay. However, imagine you are trying to grow an apple. I heard it takes a long time for an apple tree to produce an apple fruit. So apple fruit in this instance will be equity because it takes a while before equity really, begins to print profit for you. Yes. But for fixed deposits, if it is 5%, at least in 90 days, you will see the return on 5%. Yes. So money market is at least the easiest where you can start from. Okay. And for money market, you can actually put any amount. Okay. Let me shock you, 5,000 naira.
Really?
Yes. And with the advent of apps like UTLAM app for investments, we have an asset management company where you can just register using an app. You don't even need anybody to help you out because you can easily just download on Play Store or iOS Store and begin to invest.
Interesting.
With as little as 5,000, you can invest in the UTLAM money market fund. And every 90 days, there will be distribution of dividend. You get your dividend at the beginning of the new quarter. Okay. So, for instance, the quarter ended June 30th. Dividend was paid 1st of July. Okay. So it's either you want dividend to be paid or reinvested. Okay. And that's where compounding interest comes in.
That's where they talk about rollover.
Yeah, so they will roll over your dividend and then your dividend begins to earn returns. You're building wealth. So that is for the money market. For the capital market, the instrument traded at the capital market is the long-term instruments. Okay. Any instrument with tenor over a year. Okay. Falls under the capital market. So you have bonds, you have exchange traded fund, ETFs, you have stocks, and also you look at the commodity market as well. That can also fall under the capital market. So it depends on what your goal is, and then we'll then advise you what instrument will best suit your purpose.
Interesting. You keep going back to the goal. And that's a very, very powerful thing. Because, personally, I always tell people that your goal gives you the direction.
It does.
So it does. Someone said it this way. It says, success is goals. All else is commentary.
Interesting.
That's where it starts from.
Interesting.
Right? And you talk about, first of all, identifying your goal, So as a business person, is just making more money, can that be a goal?
Yes, I think that will be the goal, quote and unquote. That most businesses feel that that's their goal, making more money. But then again, the process of making money, in the final analysis, you realize that it's really adding value. It's adding value. So the moment you stop adding value, you stop making money. And the business world is so volatile that the value, you have to be dynamic enough to continue to add value. So making money can't just be the goal. adding value has to be the goal for a business person. And then when you add value, the consumers or your customers will be able to then give you value in return. That is money now.
Money.
So basically, it's not just saying I want to make money. And even if that's the goal, that I want to make money, there are many ways to catch a fish. So you can decide to say, I'm just going to stick to using my hook. Or I will stick to using my nets.
Yes.
But I believe that there are technologies now in place that you don't even need all of that. You can groom your fish in a pond and not even bother about catching it. Just drain the water and pick all the fish. So basically, it's always good to have multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income. What if what you are selling today is no longer in demand? That period in between when you decide what next to do, you should have something that is bringing in money for you. I'll give you an example, something that we can all relate to. During the COVID period, imagine what service providers were going through, particularly the ones who are not ready, who are not prepared for the COVID. Of course, the COVID period announced a lot of businesses, and even those in service sector were able to still manage. But for those who are not ready, the first few months would have been hell. Because for service providers, if you don't, it's performance-based. If you're not doing anything for me, why should I pay you?
Exactly.
But imagine that you as a service provider, you already have an investment running. That's a fixed return already. Because we fell into that category. We had clients who had locked in their funds with us. They were not asking whether there was COVID. They were expecting returns as I went due.
Wow.
And we had to give return. Likewise us, we also have investment with counterparties, with other companies, and we also got returns. So it's always good to think beyond what you are currently doing, because a single policy can really alter your business. A single policy. I remember a particular business, I won't mention the brand, that was into logistics, and they had just gone to procure a lot of bikes, and everybody was using their services until Lagos State said, look, you are becoming a nuisance, pack and go. And imagine what that would have done to their business if they had, I don't know so much about the company itself, I'm just citing as an example. If they had other sources of income, such as investments, either in money market or capital market, long-term investment, they will be impacted, but the impact will not be so damning. There will be some buffer that will at least sustain them in that period, and they would, of course, feel it, but not as much. So it's always good, as a business owner, set something aside, be disciplined enough to stick to the structure that you have put in place. If you have maybe a finance person, an account person, tell the person, we put 20% of profits in XYZ instruments. We invest this. Speak to union trustees, for instance, and tell them, what can you do for us? And again, I also wanted to mention that even when you manage a business, particularly small or medium-scale businesses, there's always that period where you have a lot of cash before you then put it back into your business. There's something you call cash flow management. You know your reorder period. That until I've gotten to this point in my business, I will not go back to China. Month on month, don't allow your funds to just stay in the bank. For instance, in UTL, we have an investment trust product that you can key into. What that does basically is there's a trust arrangement that is backing up your investment vehicle. So you can invest in multiple assets, for instance. However, whenever you need to access funds, you can break into that investment. So how does this apply to business owners? You have 100 million sitting in your accounts, waiting for the day you want to go back to China to order your products, but you are not ready. And you won't be ready until maybe next month. What should you do? Put that money into an investment vehicle. Let that thing begin to earn interest. You can say it won't earn much, but it will earn more than what a current account will give to you
Yes.
at the end of the month. It will earn enough to pay maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 staff salary, or even buy diesel for the business.
Yes.
And don't trivialize a little drop of water here and there, because it helps the business at least to survive and thrive even in difficult times. So don't wait until you have a lot of money. You can set it up such that everything that comes into your business goes into an investment account at the end of the week.
Wow.
Or at the end of the day. For instance, mutual funds, for instance. You can actually have funds going to your mutual funds account every day. And the day you are going to restock, you write to your fund manager. Or you can use your app, like I said earlier, the UTLAM app, for instance. Just you can make the request for withdrawal there. Withdraw your funds, it lands into your account, and go to the market, still do the same purchase. However, that 50 million, that 20 million has earned something for maybe 5-10 days.
Yes.
And when I say earn something, it can earn as much as 17% in 5 days.
Wow.
Whereas your current account will earn maybe 2%.
The current account, do they even pay anything?
So most of us, I was speaking with a friend 2 years ago, and we were talking about savings. She's big on savings. Only for me to discover that she had lots of dollars in her current account. She earns in dollars, and all she does is just leave the dollar there. Guess what? You can invest in dollars as well. There are dollar mutual funds. There are dollar fixed deposits. And the moment she moved the money to us, well, she began to earn, I think, $500 every 90 days. So it became very interesting for her, because every 90 days, you just say, okay, pay it to my GTB account, pay it to this, and all of that. So it's interesting to see that when you start investing, you begin to enjoy it. And then you also have that confidence that there's something coming in from another source.
Yes.
Other than the core business.
Yes.
So the profit you have made is also earning interests. You are compounding your returns. I think anybody will buy into that.
I'm telling you. I mean, this is really exciting. And as you were speaking, I was reminded of something I read in a book written by a man by the name Robert Kiyosaki, where he spoke about the cash flow quadrant.
Yes.
Yes. So he spoke about the fact that technically, in his own words, what he was trying to say was that there are 4 ways to make money. The first is by being an employee. So you're working somewhere, they're paying you a salary, and that's it, right? The second way to make money is by being self-employed. So, for example, you do start a business, but you are the business. When you are not around, the business is closed. You can't go on vacation, because when you go on vacation, business has gone on vacation.
Very true.
So, for example, let's assume maybe you are providing a particular service, maybe a laundry service, for example, but you are the one doing the work.
The author and the finisher.
Exactly, the author and the finisher, I'm telling you. So the day you do not come to work, there is no work that day, no business that day. You know? Then he admonishes people that we should move to quadrant 3. Quadrant 3, you are a business owner. Now, what you've done at that stage is you've built a system on how to make money. So now let's use our laundry example. So you own a laundry business, but now you have people who wash, you have people who iron, you have people who do all of that, you have people who deliver, you have people who collect clothes. So you are running an operation. So even if you step away for some days, the operation will run, right? And then you can come back. But then he said something very powerful, which is, you know, as you were speaking, I was remembering that part especially, that most of the wealthiest people on the face of the earth and people who have been able to scale their businesses successfully, they do not stop at being business owners. they think about the fourth quadrant, and the fourth quadrant is the quadrant of investment.
Investment.
That's the investor.
Yeah.
So they take money from the business and they invest that money wisely.
Yes.
Because of compound interest and all of those other factors, they multiply their wealth. And then, of course, they make enough money to invest again into this business to generate more wealth. Then they invest the money. So it's a cycle.
Yes.
Right? And so that's the picture coming to mind as you were speaking. So much knowledge passed across to the viewers. I'm learning so much myself. Well, I would like us to continue, but we would have to wrap it up here for this particular edition. I mean, we'll continue the conversation and we'll air it on the 1st of September for people to hear the other parts of what we're discussing. I believe they are very, very, very important things, and people would like to hear the conclusions. I mean, trust me, I know that lots of beautiful things that you would want to hear. So I would like to see you join us for our broadcast on the 1st of September, where you'll be hearing and watching the concluding part of this conversation. Until the 1st of September, make sure you do make a lot of money in the month of August. Set up your business, structure your business to succeed, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you follow us on all our social media handles. I'll see you in September. Take care and do enjoy yourselves. Bye.